بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة والتسليم. Traveler 1 البرنامج المشترك, lesson module 4 lesson C. Now in the previous lesson we used abbreviations. We tried to differentiate between adverbs and adjectives, and we used to and enough. Today we're going to use also abbreviation, but in order for us to write notes and SMS messages. Today's part is called a quick note. Now, before we start the listening, I want you to look at these three parts of conversation. It's going to be a listening exercise. Before you listen, I want you to think about these papers. Do you think they are from, for example, someone's someone is going to try to give you an information about a date, like you're going to change a schedule, you're going to go to the supermarket, you're going to go, for example, shopping, or you just have a meeting with someone. I just want you to look at number one, you have sugar and milk. Second one, you have expedition, PM 72, Fairview. The third one, you have shopping with Mary, but it's crossed, and you have go to. And so what do you think? We're going to listen to the phone calls so we can finish these notes, okay? Let's, they're going to be three. Each one is different. Now listen and try to complete these notes.
5. Listening. B. Listen to 3 short phone calls and complete the missing information. 1.
Hey Frank, where are you? Have you been to the supermarket yet?
No, but I will go. Why? Do you want to add to the list? I already have sugar and yogurt.
I know. Could you get some milk too? There's not enough. Oh, and some eggs.
And I think we need coffee too.
No, we don't.
Okay, I'll be home ASAP.
2.
Hello?
Hi, Joe. It's me, Ted. Listen, Fred and I are going to a modern art exhibition tonight at around 8 p.m. Do you want to come along?
Sure. Where is it?
It's in Fairview.
What? That's too far for me. It's going to take me an hour to get there.
Come on, it'll be fun. And we can go for dinner afterwards. Just the 3 of us.
Okay, I'll come. Did you say 8?
Yes, and here's the address. 72 Stone Road.
See you later.
3. Hi, I'm not at home at the moment. Please leave your message after the beep.
Hi, Mary. It's me, Monica. Sorry, but I can't make it today. I have a terrible toothache and must see a dentist later. Can we go shopping tomorrow afternoon? Call me tonight. Bye.
Now, after listening, you have these notes. If you were the person who received these messages, what kind of information would you fill in these papers? For example, the first one, he said yogurt and eggs, yes. So when you taking notes, try to write the most important part. Here he just wrote what they need, from the supermarket. Second one, this is what he added. Modern art, this is the place they're going to. Modern art expedition. Time, 8. And he said, of course, the name of the street, Stone Road. Now look at number 3. She's going to the dentist, and they're going to, go shopping on Wednesday. Now I want you to notice what's written on these papers. Some abbreviation is used here, like RD. So sometimes when you want to write notes, most of the time, because we want it to be fast, quick, clear, we just write some abbreviation. So the note will be like that long. As you can see, they're just like few words, okay? Now let's move to the second part. Now, do you often leave notes to your family and friends? What are they usually about? Now, sometimes you leave notes to, for example, on the fridge, or you use SMS, you send to your, for example, friends, or you write it on the desk. Where would you find them? I just said one of them. For example, you can find them on the fridge. You can find it, for example, sometimes on a book, or for example, inside your book or on your phone. Now, what would you actually say if you were speaking to that person? Instead of saying, see you later, and just the time, you say, you have to have full sentences. It's not just, abbreviation or short words. When you are actually saying the words, you're not using the abbreviation. You don't use the short version. You're using, the long version. You're saying, hi, Noura, how are you? You talk to her, and then during that conversation, you're going to tell her what you're doing. But when you send her an SMS, or when you write a note, you just write, for example, place and time you want to meet her. You don't have like hi and goodbye, and you don't start with any, introduction. You don't have full sentences. You don't have preposition. You don't have like full stops and paragraphs and lines. You just have few words just to get that message across. Now, how is the SMS message different from the notes? Now, when it comes to SMS, when you're sending someone an actual message, it's a message. It's different than just notes. You're taking notes. So in order for you to listen, you have to listen, of course, to answer. But we don't have, I'm not going to give you all the answers, but I want you to listen to the conversation now. Well, it's not a conversation. They're going to read the notes that you have in your book. Here he says, where would you, the same questions I'm going to say, but here you have like 6 pictures, and each one of them have some notes. As you listen, they're the same ones as they're, for example, in front of you, but it's like a practice for you, so it's easier for you to follow what's written here. And I want you to notice how different they are. Okay? Listen.
6. Writing.
Something's wrong with printer. Please don't put too much paper.
Tony, gone to Bob's. Not enough food for tonight. Order Chinese. Back about 11 p.m. Sam.
Back in 5 minutes. Henry, Mr. Baker rang 5 times. Wants to cancel meeting. Can't make it today. Wednesday instead? Frank.
Out of order. Use stairs.
Running late. Stuck at post office. Please wait.
Okay. Now, as you notice, most of them are very direct. They just want you to know what's happening, what's going on. For example, if it's time that has been changed, or the position, or the place, or location, they just want you to receive that note, receive that information. Has nothing to do with your, for example, socializing. It doesn't mean that you have to say hi and goodbye. No, they just want, information. Now, sometimes you feel, as you can see the pictures that you have in your book, sometimes you can find these notes on the printer, like the first one, on the fridge, in a shop window. And usually we have that when you have a closed shop. They put like for be back in 5 minutes or after the prayer time and so on. On the door of a shop or office desk or outside the lift. Sometimes if someone is leaving their house or changing the address and they have no way to tell other people if they want to change their address, or they're telling their neighbors they're leaving, or they just leave a note on their doorknob so everyone knows that they're leaving or they're changing their location. Sometimes they have, you have that with shops when they move from one neighborhood to another. Okay, question number 2. You would use full sentences. Of course, he says, what would you usually say if you were speaking to that person? When you speak into that person, you're not going to say back in 5 minutes. You're not going to say out of order. You have to use full sentences. You say, for example, the elevator is broken or it's not working today. I'm afraid we have to use the stairs. So you're going to give full sentences to explain the situation. But in that case, in this case, of course, when it comes to notes, we just write like out of order. It means it's not working, you have to use the stairs. Okay? This is like the example. If I want to change the note from that, for example, printer, I would say there's something wrong with the printer, full sentence. Please don't put too much paper on it, in it. Okay? Instead of making the short one, you're making full sentence or writing full sentences. The SMS message contains a lot of abbreviation. For example, the abbreviation that I showed you last time, in your book you have many abbreviation. You can use that as a reference, and you can use other references, but you have that. If you want to activate abbreviation in your messages, in SMS, it's used a lot, and I'm sure that you use that when you send, for example, messages to your friends. But sometimes the abbreviation is not known for a lot of people. You just use it between you and your friends. This is, your code. But usually when you have SMS, you are allowed to write abbreviations. It's fine. Now, read the sentences and write true or false. Now, I'm going to read the sentences with you. Okay? Now, if we're talking about, because we talked about the notes, the first part, and the second part was about the messages and notes that you use. If you want to write notes in notes or messages, we only give the important information. The notes that you leave on the door, for example. Do you use like full sentences, all like you have to have like many sentences or introduction and so on, or you just have the most important information? I want you to think about that sentence so we can put true or false. Okay, sentence 2. In notes and messages, we always write full sentences. Do you remember the notes that you saw? Do you write full sentences, or do you write the most important part? What do you think? Okay, number 3. In notes or messages, we can use abbreviation. We already talked about that, but you can think about that. Okay, number 4. In notes or messages, we don't always use articles and prepositions. Articles like the and a, and prepositions like in, on, off. Do we use them or not? Number 5, in SMS messages, we greet and sign off by writing names. Like you say, hello, and when you finish, you say, see you later, Flan, for example, or see you later, Noura or Sarah or whatever. Do you say that when you write SMS messages? Do you do that or not? Okay, the first sentence, we only give the most important information. Okay, it's true. Number 2, we always write full sentences, notes that you saw in the papers that you have the pictures, of course, and the first ones. No, false. We can use abbreviations like RD, PM. Can we? Yes, we can. True. Number 4, we don't always use articles. We don't. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Is it true? Yes, it's true. In SMS messages, we greet. Do we greet people and sign off when we finish? We end like you have an ending to the SMS. Think about the SMS you send your friends. Do you do that? No, of course not. It's false. Now, you have, under that, you have the writing task. Very important, because when you have a lesson and you don't activate that knowledge, you don't practice that knowledge, you probably, maybe, you will, forget some of that information. So it's very important for you to practice. You have the notes in the book, you have the abbreviation. Let's try to write our own note. Okay, you have 2 situations. I'm going to explain it one by one, so it's easier for you to do it. You can do it at home while we talk. Number 1, this is the situation. You need to write a note and then SMS message. 2, okay. You want some things from the supermarket, but you can't go. Write a note asking your friend to go. You're going to ask your friend, telling her or him what you need. Tell her or him why you can't go and what time you will be back. So if you want to leave the note, it's going to be very short, the most important idea, and you can use abbreviation. Let's try that. So we are going to the you want things from the supermarket, you can't go. So you need, for example, things you want to eat. You're going to tell the person why you can't go, and what time you're going to be back. So first you have to tell her, for example, you can't say I'm sick or sick. I need, or you don't have to say I need. Let's say grocery from the supermarket, and you write, for example, bread, milk, coffee, and at the end you can say back in 1 hour. Just that's it. You're telling her sick for today, can't make it for today. Just, you know, telling her the reason why, or telling her, that person. And then what you need for the supermarket, you can write chocolate, whatever you want from the supermarket. Chocolate, milk, bread. And last, you know, the note that you're going to write, you have to tell that person when you're coming. Come back in 2 hours, 1 hour, and so on. Now, if you want the second one, a cousin has invited you to his or her house for dinner. Write an SMS message to thank him or her and say that you will be a bit late. Give an excuse. So you're going to say thank you. You're going to say that you're going to be late, and you're going to tell that person why. Now, because it's an SMS, you don't greet you don't have to greet that person, but you can say, for example, you can say, let's say, let's talk about the reason first. If you're going to be late, you have a meeting, let's say, or it's a school day, or you have, let's say, a project, maybe a project is a good excuse. You're going to be late for example, you can come at 7, so let's say 2 hours, and you're going to write to her that you are going to say thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'll be late for 2 hours, or I can't make it until 7 o'clock. I have a meeting. Of course, I'm just imagining, like, I'm not saying that this is what you should write, but let's just say that you have to talk about how you're going to send that. It has to be clear. You have to tell that person how you, for example, you have to give that excuse. Now, I'm going to read this with you as a tip, so we can wrap things up. Okay, so we can differentiate between a note and then SMS. When writing a note, now you're going to write a note on the fridge, for example, or you're going to leave it on the mirror for your mother or your sisters. You're going to leave the note, for example, on the book or her laptop. You want to tell her that. Greet and sign off when appropriate, if it's needed. The note, of course. You keep the text short and give only the important information. You can say, hi, Noura, I need, for example, need, and you can write whatever you need. Remember that you don't have to write full sentences. You don't have to use articles, prepositions, pronouns, certain verbs like have or like. You can use abbreviation. You can say, like in the book, for example, you have the names first, and then they wrote some information. Here you can, because it's for example, your mother or your sister or your friend, you can say, hi, Sarah. For example, you can say, if you want something from her, or wait for me, I'll be late, or can't make it today, I have a meeting. And then you can, you know, end that with love you, or you know, just your name. It's up to you. But I'm just thinking about what information can you use for a note. I'm just thinking about that. I cannot just grasp any idea, but maybe you have that idea. Just try to greet, sign, if it's appropriate. If it's like, it's usually when it's your mother or friend, it's nice. You can do that. But sometimes it's just a friend or someone you're meeting with, or someone you're having a meeting with. So you just want to give them the information and finish the note. Or you're leaving, for example, your laptop open, and you don't want anyone to use that until you come back. You have like a lunch break, and you're downloading, for example, a program, and you cannot turn it off. So you can say, hi everyone, leave the laptop open, don't touch the laptop, or there's a download in the laptop. You can say, thank you for understanding, or don't, I don't know, just thank you, or I'm just thinking about a note that you can write. I don't have that idea now, but I think if you have to give them the most important part. When writing an SMS message, you don't need to write a greeting or a sign off. You can use abbreviation and SMS language. Of course, here you have many abbreviations in your book. In the SMS, make use of that when you send it to your, for example, friend, or you send it to your, for example, your teacher, you're saying something, you can use abbreviation so you can activate that knowledge, because it's there in your book. You have it on page 79, I think. I think it's on 79, yes. It's a list of abbreviation, the one that we have in the book, and I showed you the last time. So this is your task. If you want to write, that task is going to be, it doesn't have to be the same one, but if you want to activate that knowledge, you can write the first situation. Here you have to write something for your friend for the supermarket. You need to give her what you need, and you have to tell her why you can't go, and you are going to tell her the time you're coming. The second one, you're going to go to your cousin's wedding, and you have to tell that person that you can't go on that time, but you are going to give an excuse why you're going to be late. You're attending the wedding, but you're going to be late, and this is just going to be a great practice for you. I think this is it. Thank you, everyone. See you next time, inshallah.